Hello and welcome to another preview. My name's Haas, and this time we're taking a look at an upcoming MOBA called Dawngate. There's a character named Dibs. Dibs! What else is there to say? Well, Dawngate is the flagship title of Waystone Games and Electronic Arts. And as these types of games have been coming out of the woodwork as of late, Dawngate has a lot of competition to prove itself against. As it is, as of right now, in an early closed beta state, here's what it currently offers and why it has happily surprised me. Dawngate is a new MOBA, built from the ground up to look and feel familiar while offering a whole new way to experience that type of gameplay. And it certainly seems to succeed in that regard. Dawngate will be incredibly familiar to experienced players. It doesn't do anything shockingly different and in general is rather streamlined. It is closest to games such as League of Legends. Familiar for veterans of the genre and relatively easy to get into for newer players, but I can definitely say that it feels sufficiently different through numerous small additions and changes. Let's start with the champions, or shapers as they are called in Dawngate. There aren't a huge amount of shapers yet in Dawngate. Beta is of course beta, but most of them seem to share the same passive ability, called Pure Shaper, which basically means they do not use a resource for their abilities. Most shapers in Dawngate will not use mana or energy or anything of the sort and are merely cooldown based. But this is not the case for all the shapers, and there already are quite a few different resource mechanics such as focus, using health, energy or rage. The shapers that are already present therefore do feel sufficiently different as it is, with a few different roles such as carry, support, bruiser, tank and mage, with 4 abilities each, and the 4th being an ultimate ability gained at level 6 out of the maximum 20 levels.
The ankle bone connected to the neck bone.
Players are then still divided into teams of 5, but you will then immediately run into some differences. In Dawngate, the shapers are divided into different archetypes, sure, but before you jump into a match, you must select a role. And you could technically take any shaper role combo you wish, though obviously some will have clear advantages. The gladiator role is specifically suited for carry shapers, giving you stacking bonus Vim, which is the currency in Dawngate, for every lane minion you last hit, rewarding you for properly last hitting minions. The second role, the Tactician, is a great pairing with the Gladiator, as this role is dedicated to harassing enemy shapers and not last hitting minions yourself. The Tactician gains bonus Vim for being near enemy lane minions as they die, but more importantly gets bonus Vim whenever they damage an enemy shaper. Thirdly, the Hunter is the dedicated jungler in Dawngate, giving you bonus damage to jungle minions, replenishing your health when you kill them, and giving you more money when you actually kill them. And lastly, the Predator role is meant for the roaming shapers and gain a ton of extra Vim and experience when they assist or kill an enemy shaper. Plus they gain extra Vim for killing Spirit Well workers, which are a new objective on the Dawngate map. This system creates a nice incentive for pairing up good role combinations and rewards you for a specific playstyle more so than normally. And I found this to make the entire team composition more logical and mainly more rewarding. As you then spawn on the Dawngate map, your first order of business is of course buying items. And in Dawngate, they first of all do away with the silly names. Unfortunately, if you wish to buy the Shield of Hopes and Dreams, you're out of luck with Dawngate. In Dawngate, items have very simple, catchy and yet menacing names such as Time, Decay, Hostility or Resilience. Items and statistics are extremely streamlined in Dawngate. You have 6 basic items, which can all be upgraded with some branching trees and a final tier 3 item with a specific passive effect. In addition to having some standard consumable items such as health potions. Yes, it certainly is very simplistic in this regard, but the nice thing here is that it's really easy to pick up. And with the way the statistics work, any item will be useful. Obviously there will be recommended items, but right now Dawngate gives you quite a bit of freedom in what you get, as again, anything can potentially be useful. Power, for instance, is a very basic statistic that increases your damage without having to worry about magical or physical types. And haste works as your attack speed, cooldown reduction and movement speed all in one. though the actual bonuses you do get tend to be a bit different for each shaper, but again they are setting it up so that you don't necessarily have to go down one given route. Now, the actual map in Dawngate has one very obvious difference. There's only 2 lanes. There's a top lane, a bottom lane, and then a ton of jungle creeps in between both lanes and next to both lanes. Maps are of course relatively easy to copy, with this turn out to be specifically successful, but at the very least it is an enjoyable change from the more standard MOBA map layout. On the outer jungle locations, there are 4 so-called spirit wells, which I mentioned earlier, as the predator role here has a little bit of an edge. Spirit wells function as your resource mines. Here, NPC peons are doing work as they gather the Vim and drop it into the middle, granting your team more Vim over time. The big thing here is that each team starts out with 2, but controlling these mines is a different objective altogether, as you can easily wander over to an unlocked spirit well of the enemy team and slaughter all their peons in cold blood, reducing their Vim income until they respawn, or even better, take it over for yourself. One interesting and nice aspect here to notice is that much of the user interface is incorporated into the design of the map. Towers, or bindings as they are called here for instance, fire off a flash of light all the way back to your base when destroyed, signaling that certain allied creeps will now be stronger. These bindings can also all respawn, and this is indicated by a line of light moving across the terrain. The incorporated user interface into the actual terrain is quite nice to watch and is definitely one of the outstanding points of the look of Dawngate. Beyond this, there's all the basics as you would expect. A Roshan-esque boss in the middle called the Parasite, and 2 giant bosses defending each base, which do have the nice feature of having a set of abilities themselves that you should be dodging. Then some final differences are that every player has their own ward right from the get-go, which acts as an ability where you can place one ward at any given time, that is on a cooldown. Secondly, at level 1, 10 and 20, every player can gain a new spell or active ability that is the same for each shaper, ranging from absorbing shields called Deflect to debuffing enemies or Blinks, and these can for a small sum of money be switched if the situation calls for it, though this can only be done at the base. So, thus far I must say I am quite impressed. The gameplay itself is smooth and connects well, with the only negative here being that spell animations and visuals do need more work, as they are often too subtle and lack impact. The map layout is refreshing and the spirit well system adds a new interesting layer to the game. The different roles do reward you a lot more for your playstyle and make the team feel more connected, and generally the game feels incredibly familiar yet different enough to be interesting. There is the definite possibility that the game ends up being too simplistic with the item route it is taking and the general lack of resource system on shapers, but for a beta, Dawngate is looking highly promising and mainly is just a ton of fun. My name's been Huss, this has been a look at the current Dawngate beta, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.